Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Crushed Custard, and today we're taking a bit of a departure because we're going to go into the CD cabinet. Today we're going to look at this one. Jann Arden, Living Under June from 1994. Her first album had come out the year before, Time for Mercy, that was released in 1993, and it had provided her with a Canadian hit and one of those prestigious Juno Awards for the best video, courtesy of the track I Would Die For You. So this follow-up, Living Under June, was very highly anticipated when it came out over the other side of the water. Sadly, not that many people all that switched on about Jann Arden over this side of the pond at the time. So the album has got 10 tracks on it. It's virtually all self-penned by Jann Arden. It kicks off with a track called Could I Be Your Girl, which was also chosen as the lead-off single. It's a nice upbeat poppy track with some country and gospel undertones, as well as a pretty decent guitar solo as well. It not only hit the #1 spot in Canada, but it also scooped another one of those Juno Awards, this time for the Single of the Year, and it was her first real proper success in America as well. The country feel is even more to the fore with the second track, Demolition Love, due mostly to the very twangy guitar that's on it. Arden provides a dreamy, passion-filled vocal, which prevents the song from becoming just that little bit too countrified and twee. The guitar sound is far crispier, even if it's still a little twangy in places on the next track, Looking For It. But once again, Arden delivers a fine vocal, and the acoustic guitar, which punctuates the song, is the real highlight though for me and gives it its identity. After that we go on to Insensitive, which is the only non-Arden pen track on the album and was written by Anne Laurie. Curiously though, it has to date provided Arden with her biggest worldwide success as it reached the lofty heights of number 12 on the mainstream US singles chart. It's far more poppy and commercial sounding track than the rest of the ones on off here, and it's not difficult really to see why it achieved the radio play it did, as it's got a very, very catchy hook to it. So much so, in fact, that it was used in the film Bed of Roses and also used as an advertising jingle for a very well-known brand of jeans in Italy. Next then is a track called Gasoline. That's the first of the three of the rockier tracks for me, and it's got a same sort of feel to it as a sort of mid to late 80s Robert Plant arrangement in places, which may sound strange, but go and have a listen to it and see what you think, especially in the sort of backing vocal, and the riffing department's Wonder Drug, meanwhile, as a rather strange introduction before it continues with the rockier sound. For me, that's a little bit Jonathan Brookie, if anybody knows who Jonathan Brooke is. She's another artist well worth listening to if you've not come across her. The third of the rockier tracks is the title track, Living Under June, and lyrically and vocally it's as good as any track on the album. The vocal melody in particular is very pleasing to me, and the guitar break towards the end is also really nice. It's just one thing that I don't like about it, and that is the electronic sounding backing in parts, which sort of takes the feel away a little bit in places, but it's only a minor gripe. Things slow down considerably next for the gentle, sensitive ballad Unloved. Once again, Jann Arden delivers a faultless vocal on a very atmospheric track, and she's joined in a vocal duet by Jackson Browne. So, big names to the fore all over the place. It's difficult to fault Arden's performance, and even though Browne struggles with the key at the end of a couple of the lines, it adds to the effect rather than detracts from it, and the recurrent guitar is also quite a nice touch. Good Mother then takes us back to the more pop sound of the earlier tracks, and it's not difficult to imagine a young Chantal Kraviatzuk being influenced by this, as she wrote her debut album a couple of years later. The album then ends with something of a surprise, as the country pop and rock is replaced by smoochy jazz. It looks like rain immediately transports you to one of those smoky jazz bars of yesteryear, and Arden provides a pitch-perfect vocal over a lone piano that would be the envy of many a performer of a blues or jazz style of singing. If there was any doubt prior to this that Arden deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as the finest female voices of her generation, then It Looks Like Rain surely puts that to bed. In a bid to get Arden more exposure outside of Canada, A&M decided to add the hit from her debut album, I Would Die For You, to the end of this album. as a bonus track on all of the issues apart from the original Canadian one. As good a marketing idea as that may be, it does sort of ruin the effect of It Looks Like Rain as the perfect album closer. I Would Die For You is a pretty fast tempo and was actually the opening cut of the debut album, so if they were going to put it on, maybe they could have positioned it somewhere in the middle or something, but putting it on the end, I think, kind of slightly ruins the majesty of the track that goes before it. So Living Under June then was released in August 1994 in Canada, although it was held back until 1995 everywhere else. It gave Arden 3 hits in Canada: Could I Be Your Girl, Insensitive and Good Mother, as well as her first major international success with Insensitive in Italy and America. It also gave her 2 more Juno Awards: Best Single for Could I Be Your Girl and Best Video for Good Mother. Living on a June then is a fine album, and it's easy for me to recommend this to anyone with a liking for good singer-songwriter music. There's not a bad track on the album. It's a really, really good album, this. It's difficult for me to understand sometimes how one artist will become an international superstar and another one will just remain reasonably big in their own little area. For me, Jann Arden should be mentioned in the same breath as the likes of Sarah McLachlan and Sheryl Crow and all those other people who've got sort of worldwide status. Jann Arden's put out a ton of good albums. Go and track them down. Go and have a listen to them. You will not regret it. I guarantee you that. It's just a shame to me that she seems to have suffered the same sort of fate as people like Jonathan Brooke and Chantal Kravitzuk and those people who are just not well known over this side of the pond. I could add Amy Mann and people to that list as well, couldn't I? But there's a ton of them. If you want to find out who they are, just come and see me. I'll put you right on some of the great female singer-songwriters that we've got around, and Jann Arden is right out of the top bracket. Okay, there you go, and that's it. Jann Arden. Maybe a bit of an obscure one to one or two of you, but that is maybe what the point is sometimes, to find out something that you don't know about. I'm sure there's probably a few people out there going, somebody else who's discovered how brilliant Jann Arden is. So there you go. Jann Arden, Living Under June, today's album from Crushed Custard. I'll see you next time.
Let us know if you are a fan of Jann Arden. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe and give us a like, as that will help us to grow. See you soon.